Every year, millions of Canadian citizens cross the border expecting one simple thing, to come home without a problem. But what if I told you that starting April 2026, some Canadians could actually face delays, intense questioning, or even temporary denial at the airport? It sounds shocking, right? After all, isn't a Canadian passport supposed to guarantee entry? That's what most people believe. But new border modernization rules, digital screening systems, and stricter verification checks are changing how re-entry works, and many travelers have no idea what's coming. Here's the twist. This isn't about losing citizenship. It's about compliance, documentation, and digital verification errors that could stop you before you even step onto Canadian soil. One small mismatch in your documents, one unresolved legal issue, one travel mistake using the wrong passport. That's all it could take to trigger a flag in the system. So what exactly is changing in 2026? And more importantly, could you unknowingly be at risk? Stay with me, because the next few minutes could save you from a very unpleasant surprise at the border. Number one, expired or invalid Canadian passport. It may sound obvious, but an expired passport is still one of the most common and shocking reasons Canadians face serious border trouble. And starting in 2026, digital border systems are expected to become even stricter. We're talking about automated passport scans, biometric verification, and real-time database checks that can instantly flag an issue before you even speak to an officer. That means no more close enough expiry dates, no more last-minute airport surprises. If your passport is expired or even damaged, the system could stop you immediately. Here's what many travelers don't realize. Some airlines won't even let you board if your passport doesn't meet entry standards. Others may allow travel only for you to face intense screening when returning to Canada. And if your passport has water damage, torn pages, or a loose cover, the new scanning technology may fail to read it properly. That alone can trigger secondary inspection, long delays, questioning, and major stress after a long flight. Now imagine landing after 10 hours in the air, exhausted, just wanting to go home, and suddenly being pulled aside because your passport expires in a few weeks. That moment of panic? Completely avoidable. Here's the practical takeaway. Check your passport today, not next month, not before your next trip. Renew it at least 6 months before expiration, especially if you travel often. If it's damaged, replace it immediately. A passport is more than a travel document. It's your key back home. If this surprised you, drop a Canadian flag in the comments so we know you're watching closely. We put serious effort into breaking down updates like this. So please subscribe to the channel. It's just one click, but it helps us keep you informed and protected. Number two, unresolved citizenship documentation issues. You might believe that once you're a Canadian citizen, your status is permanent and unquestionable. And legally, that's true. But here's where things get complicated. Documentation errors can create serious problems at the border, especially as Canada upgrades to more advanced digital verification systems in 2026. Let's say your passport shows your full legal name, Jonathan Michael Smith, but your citizenship certificate lists John M. Smith. Or maybe you changed your name after marriage or divorce, and not all your records were updated. In the past, an officer might manually review and wave you through. But with new automated identity matching systems, even a small discrepancy can trigger a red flag. And it's not just about names. Missing citizenship certificates, outdated records, or errors in birth registration data can all slow things down. Imagine landing in Canada and being told the system cannot instantly verify your citizenship status. That doesn't mean you're not a citizen. It means the system needs more proof. And until that's resolved, you could face delays, secondary screening, or extended questioning. This is especially important for Canadians born abroad, naturalized citizens, or those who recently updated legal information. Digital systems rely on exact matches. One typo in a database can cause hours of frustration. So what can you do right now? First, make sure all your documents, passport, citizenship certificate, provincial ID, show the exact same legal name and details. If you've legally changed your name, ensure every record reflects that update. Keep copies of important documents when traveling, especially if your situation is complex. Because in 2026, it won't just be about who you are, It'll be about whether the system recognizes you instantly. If you've ever dealt with paperwork stress at the airport, tell us your story in the comments. Your experience could help someone else. We spend hours researching updates like this, so take 1 second to subscribe. It's a single click that helps us keep bringing you critical information. Number 3, dual citizenship travel mistakes. If you hold dual citizenship, this next point is critical. Many Canadians also carry another nationality, maybe American, British, Indian, or from another country. And while that's completely legal, here's where people unknowingly make a serious mistake: entering Canada using a foreign passport. Under Canadian rules, Canadian citizens are expected to enter Canada using their Canadian passport. It doesn't matter if your other passport is valid. It doesn't matter if it's more convenient. If you present a foreign passport at check-in or at the border, the system may not immediately recognize you as a Canadian citizen. That's when confusion begins. Imagine this scenario. You book a flight using your foreign passport because it gives you visa-free access somewhere. Everything goes smoothly abroad. But on your return flight, the airline scans that foreign passport and doesn't see proof that you're authorized to enter Canada. Now you're stuck explaining your citizenship at the airport counter, possibly being denied boarding until you show a valid Canadian passport. With upgraded automated border screening systems coming in 2026, these mismatches could become even more complicated. Digital systems don't rely on explanations. They rely on matching records. If the passport scanned doesn't link instantly to your Canadian citizenship file, it could trigger delays or secondary screening. The solution is simple but often ignored. Always travel to Canada with your Canadian passport. Even if you use your other passport for entering another country, switch to your Canadian passport when returning home. Double-check your booking details. Make sure the airline has the correct passport information for your return flight. One small oversight can create hours of stress, and most people only realize this rule after it's too late. Are you a dual citizen? Comment "dual" below if you learned something new today. We put real time and effort into breaking down rules that protect you. So hit subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us keep these updates coming. Number 4, outstanding legal issues or warrants. This is where things get serious. Many travelers assume that minor legal issues won't follow them across borders, but in 2026, border screening systems are expected to be more connected than ever before. We're talking about real-time database access, integrated law enforcement alerts, and automated background flags that activate the moment your passport is scanned. Now let's be clear, simply having a past mistake doesn't automatically mean you'll be denied entry, but unresolved legal matters, such as outstanding warrants, missed court appearances, serious unpaid fines, or active investigations, can trigger immediate action at the border. Even something you consider small could show up in the system. Picture this. You land in Canada after a long trip. When you scan your passport at a self-service kiosk, instead of a green check mark, you receive a printed slip directing you to speak with an officer. Your heart starts racing. You're escorted to secondary inspection. Why? Because the system flagged an unresolved issue from years ago that you thought was handled. In many cases, this won't result in permanent denial, but it can mean delays, questioning, or even temporary detention while authorities verify your status. Border officers are required to investigate active alerts. They cannot simply ignore them. Here's the smart move. If you have any outstanding legal matters, deal with them before traveling internationally. Confirm court dates were properly closed. Pay unresolved fines. Speak to a legal professional if you're unsure about your record. Don't assume it's probably fine, because when it comes to border systems, probably isn't good enough. In 2026, digital screening won't miss what you hope it will. Have you ever been pulled into secondary inspection at the airport? Share your experience below. Your story might prepare someone else. We invest serious time researching these updates, so take 1 second to subscribe. It's one simple click that helps us keep you informed and ahead of the rules. Number 5, fraudulent or damaged documents. Here's something most travelers underestimate. Your passport doesn't have to be fake to cause problems. It just has to look suspicious to a machine. And with the rollout of more advanced AI-powered document verification systems expected in 2026, even small physical damage can trigger delays. Think about it. A torn page, water damage from a spilled drink, a loose cover, faded ink. Maybe your passport went through the washing machine once. To you, it still looks usable, but to a digital scanner, it could appear altered or tampered with. And once the system detects irregularities, it automatically flags the document for further inspection. Now imagine standing in a busy airport while officers closely examine your passport under bright lights. They're checking security features, microprinting, embedded chips, not because they think you're a criminal, but because the system couldn't verify the document instantly. That delay alone can cause missed connections, hours of questioning, and serious stress. And here's another critical point. If a passport has been reported lost or stolen, even years ago, and the record wasn't properly updated, the system may treat it as invalid. Identity theft cases can also trigger automatic blocks until identity is confirmed. The solution? Inspect your passport carefully today. If it's damaged in any way, replace it. If you've ever reported one lost, confirm the issue was fully resolved. Never attempt to fix a passport yourself. Even minor unauthorized repairs can make it invalid. Because in 2026, border technology won't rely on guesswork. If your document doesn't pass the scan, the system assumes something is wrong, and you'll be the one explaining it. Quick question, have you ever traveled with a slightly damaged passport? Be honest in the comments. We work hard to uncover details most people overlook, so please subscribe. It's one click for you, but it helps us continue protecting travelers like you. Number 6, confusion between permanent residency and citizenship. This one surprises a lot of people. Some individuals genuinely believe they are Canadian citizens, when legally they are still permanent residents. And while permanent residents have strong rights in Canada, their re-entry rules are very different from those of citizens. Here's how confusion happens. Someone immigrates to Canada years ago. They receive their PR card. They build a life, a career, a family. Over time, they assume that living in Canada long enough automatically makes them a citizen. But unless you've officially completed the citizenship application process, taken the oath, and received proof of citizenship, you are not legally a citizen. Why does this matter more in 2026? Because upgraded border systems are expected to instantly verify status. Well, if you present yourself as a citizen, but the system identifies you as a permanent resident who hasn't met the residency obligation requirements, that could trigger serious problems. Permanent residents must physically live in Canada for a minimum number of days within a 5-year period. If that requirement isn't met, re-entry can become complicated. Imagine arriving at the airport confidently, only to discover your PR status is under review because you've been living abroad too long. That moment can be overwhelming and stressful. The key takeaway is simple. Know your exact legal status. Don't assume. Check your documents. If you're eligible for citizenship, consider applying as soon as possible. And if you're a PR planning extended travel abroad, make sure you meet residency requirements before leaving. Because at the border, assumptions don't count. Documentation does. Be honest. Do you fully understand your current immigration status? Comment citizen or PR below. We put real effort into simplifying complex rules for you, so please subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us keep delivering updates that truly matter. Number 7, security watchlist flags. This next reason is one of the most misunderstood and one of the most stressful. You could have done absolutely nothing wrong and still get flagged. How? Because of a name match on a security watch list. Modern border systems don't just check passports for validity, they cross-reference your name, date of birth, and sometimes even travel patterns with international security databases. And with more advanced data sharing agreements expected to expand by 2026, these checks are becoming faster and more automated than ever before. Here's the issue. If your name is similar to someone on a watch list, even if it's not you, the system may automatically trigger secondary screening. Imagine your name is common. You land in Canada, scan your passport, and suddenly you're asked to step aside. And the officers need to verify you're not the individual listed in the database. It's not an accusation. It's a verification process. But it can take time. These situations can feel intimidating. You may be asked additional questions about your travel history, employment, or destinations visited. In most cases, once identity is confirmed, you're allowed to proceed. But the delay itself can be exhausting and frightening if you weren't expecting it. If this has ever happened to you before, there may be solutions available, such as applying for a redress number or ensuring your records are updated properly in government systems. The key point is this: being flagged doesn't automatically mean guilt, but as screening becomes more digital and automated, even innocent travelers may experience extra scrutiny. A preparation and awareness reduce panic, and panic is what catches most people off guard at the border. Has your name ever been mistaken for someone else's? Share your story below. It might help someone feel less alone. We put serious research into these updates, so if this helps you, please subscribe. It's one simple click that supports the work behind these videos. Number 8, unpaid government debts or serious federal penalties. Most people don't associate government debt with border problems. After all, what does an unpaid fine have to do with entering your own country? But here's where things can get complicated. Certain serious federal penalties, court-ordered payments, or unresolved government enforcement actions can appear in national databases, and those databases may be accessible during border screening. Now let's be clear, owing regular taxes or having small provincial tickets usually won't stop you at the airport. But if there are active enforcement orders, court judgments, or escalated federal collections tied to your name, the system could flag your file for review. In 2026, with increased automation and interagency data sharing, these alerts may surface faster than ever before. Picture this scenario. You had a legal dispute years ago. Maybe there was a court fine you forgot about. Maybe paperwork was sent to an old address. You assume it's resolved, but it isn't. Then one day after landing in Canada, your passport scan triggers a notification for officers to verify outstanding enforcement records. Suddenly, what seemed like a minor issue becomes an unexpected delay. This doesn't automatically mean denial of entry, but it can mean questioning, verification checks, and uncomfortable conversations at the border. And no one wants to deal with financial disputes after a long international flight. So what's the smart move? Review your legal and financial obligations before traveling. Confirm court matters are closed. Keep documentation if you've recently resolved a payment. If you're unsure, check your records. Because while borders focus on identity and security, serious unresolved obligations can sometimes surface. And it's better to handle them on your terms, not at the airport. Quick check. Have you ever discovered an old fine or payment you completely forgot about? Tell us below. We spend hours researching updates like this, so if you value this effort, please subscribe. It's one click for you, but it keeps this channel going strong. Number 9, identity theft or passport misuse. This next reason is unsettling because it may have nothing to do with something you did. In today's digital world, identity theft is rising globally. And if your passport information or personal data has ever been compromised, it could create unexpected complications at the border. Here's how it happens. A lost or stolen passport gets reported, but later someone attempts to use your identity fraudulently, or your personal details are leaked in a data breach. Once that information enters security databases, automated systems may flag your profile for verification the next time you travel. Imagine arriving home after an international trip. You scan your passport, expecting the usual smooth entry. Instead, the system pauses. Officers are alerted because your passport number was previously associated with suspicious activity. Even though you're completely innocent, they now need to confirm that you are the rightful document holder. This process can involve additional questioning, biometric checks, or document verification. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, but it does mean your identity record requires confirmation. The most important step you can take is this. If your passport is ever lost or stolen, report it immediately and follow up to ensure it has been properly canceled and replaced. Monitor for identity fraud alerts. Keep records of any reports you filed. And if you've been a victim of identity theft before, travel with documentation that confirms the issue was resolved. Because in 2026, border systems won't just check if your passport is valid. They'll check its entire history. And if something looks unusual, you'll need to prove it's really you. Have you ever had your identity compromised? Share your experience. Your advice could protect someone else. We put real effort into uncovering risks most people overlook, so please subscribe. One click from you helps us keep producing these critical updates. Number 10, emergency public safety measures. This final reason is the most unpredictable because it depends on events none of us can fully control. Governments have the authority to implement emergency public safety measures during health crises, national security situations, or other large-scale emergencies. And when that happens, border procedures can change almost overnight. We saw how quickly global travel rules shifted during recent international crises. Sudden testing requirements, quarantine mandates, proof of status documentation, digital health declarations. Travelers who checked the rules 1 week earlier were shocked to discover new requirements just days before departure. Looking ahead to 2026, with border systems becoming more digitized and centralized, emergency measures could be enforced more rapidly and more strictly than before. That means failure to comply, even unintentionally, could result in denied boarding, temporary delays, or mandatory secondary screening until requirements are verified. Imagine arriving at the airport only to learn a new digital declaration form is required before entry, or that updated documentation must be uploaded before boarding. Without it, the airline may refuse to let you fly home until everything is completed correctly. The key lesson here is awareness. Always check official travel advisories before departure and again before returning to Canada. Don't rely on old information. Don't assume the rules haven't changed. Even a 48-hour difference can matter. Because in a rapidly changing world, border rules aren't always static. They can shift in response to global events, and the travelers who stay informed are the ones who avoid last-minute panic. Preparation isn't fear, it's protection. Have you ever been caught off guard by a sudden travel rule change? Tell us what happened in the comments. We put serious time and research into every update, so if this helps you even a little, please subscribe. It's just one click, but it truly supports the work behind this channel. So here's the bottom line. Canadian citizens are not suddenly losing their right to enter Canada. That right remains protected. But what is changing is how entry is verified. With stronger digital screening systems, tighter document matching, and deeper database integration expected in 2026, the margin for error is shrinking. And as you've seen, most of these 10 reasons aren't dramatic crimes or extreme situations. They're small oversights, an expired passport, a name mismatch, using the wrong passport as a dual citizen, an old unresolved fine, a damaged document, identity confusion. These are everyday issues that can quietly turn into airport stress if ignored. The key message isn't fear, it's preparation. Check your documents early. Confirm your legal status. Keep your records clean and updated. Always travel with the correct passport. Review official travel advisories before flying. These simple steps take minutes now, but could save you hours or even days of frustration later. The world is becoming more automated. Borders are becoming more digital, and systems don't rely on explanations. They rely on exact matches. So ask yourself, if you were flying tomorrow, would everything in your file match perfectly? If the answer isn't a confident yes, now is the time to fix it. Because coming home should feel simple, not stressful. Stay informed, stay prepared, and most importantly, stay ahead of the rules.